Hello, Bridge Builders! I'm here with some exciting news. The first volume of interviews is now available on Amazon.com. The link can be found at EatLunchandBoardGame.com. I promise that all proceeds from sales of this book will go right back into this podcast and channel. Whether that is new and better audio equipment for the podcast, or video equipment for the YouTube channel, or even more games to review, the money will not be wasted. Click over to Amazon and get your copy of Eat Lunch and Board Game, the first course today. And thank you for supporting the show. This episode is sponsored by Fortuna Games, STL. Owners Will and Ashley have a quaint shop here in St. Louis City. They have lots of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon cards on hand, as well as board games and accessories, like card sleeves that I am always ranting about. Use coupon code ELABG10 for 10% off your purchase. If you don't see what you're looking for on their website, fortunagames.net, just email them and see if they can get it for you at fortunagames@gmail.com. Fortuna Games, for all your lunchtime board gaming needs. All right, welcome back to Lunch and Board Game. I'm your host, Adam F. Collins, and with me today is Adam J. Collins, who happens to also be in the board game industry, the podcast market, and shockingly, we both have something to do with the construction industry in our daily lives. And Adam is also joined with his partner in crime, Chad Head, and together they are the Humble Approach. How are you guys doing this evening?
Very good. Thanks.
We're doing great, although we're not involved in any crime. So he's not my partner in crime.
Well, yeah. Night's still young.
Yeah.
So where are you guys located?
We are in Canada, but more specifically New Brunswick, Canada, which a lot of people have never heard of, but that's where we are.
I feel like every time you hear New Brunswick, you associate it with like New Jersey, or there's
yeah.
So that's New Brunswick is one of the provinces. I know it's on one of the ends, but is it on the eastern end over there by? Yeah, so it is like north of Maine.
Yeah.
Yes, it's directly north of Maine. Yeah.
Okay, I knew it was one of the coasts, but sorry, my Canadian geography is not as good as it could or should be.
Yeah, well, there's only 12 provinces.
There's 10 provinces.
10 provinces.
His isn't that
Mine
great
isn't that
either.
great
I don't feel so bad now. So, like we were just talking, you guys have formed the Humble Approach, and you're kind of a creative outlet. So, what else do you guys do?
So we basically do whatever we are passionate in at the moment. So that usually takes its form in board games, but we've done anything from different film projects to we even have a few kind of books out there. Just whatever we seem to want to do at that time. Kind of what's the next project we want to do. Now, most of our endeavors have been through the platform. Kickstarter has been a huge thing for us, just in terms of like funding our projects and stuff. It's been great to us. We've had a pretty good backing over the years, and actually we have one on the go right now, even as we speak. And
Well, what one's that?
It's Deadline.
Yeah.
You tell us about it, Chad.
It's RPG that's kind of meant for long distances, or it was inspired by the pandemic, kind of where we couldn't get together. So, and it was kind of a bit non-committal. So it was, you do basically submit one move, one turn action per day, before the deadline. And then the game master, we call him the director, just so we're not stepping on anyone's toes, but, he kind of, plays out the situation for you. And, that's just how it goes day by day. And ultimately the goal is we kind of put just a very generic mask on it of, you want to take out the captain, but according to whatever kind of flavor RPG you're doing. The captain could be, I don't know, a dragon terrorizing the city. It could be, I don't know, a mob boss who's, just doing crime.
Yeah,
So-
it's a unique one. We only know one other one that's similar to it, but basically, yeah, it's it's kind of like you make your move each day, and it's a slow progressive thing, which actually was kind of interesting too. When we were playtesting it, I ended up using my lunch hours to do a lot of the work, which kind of ties into the podcast here. So, but it's literally perfect for that in the sense that, you know, when we were kind of creating the game, one of the scenarios that I kept picturing was like an office setting where you have the board on the table or the map on the table, and people are just kind of walking by and making their move each day. You know what I mean? So we kind of pictured something like that in some sense, but it ended up developing into what we have now, which is could still work for that, but yeah.
Gotta love those lunch hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, and I'll say it again, like we used to use our lunch hours and our lunchtime group as our playtesters for various games or scenarios, or hey, is this a game? Does this mechanic even work? So yeah, lunchtime is a great time to play games and a great time to test game designs. So, so back to Kickstarter. That's actually, I have one of your games, Christmas Lights, which was a Kickstarter. Oh my goodness, it's been years ago now. It's
Yeah.
pre-pandemic, so at least 4.
We
should know that.
I believe it's 2018.
Yeah.
But we originally launched that one on Kickstarter ourselves, and after 2 failed attempts because we just didn't understand or didn't have a way to make a game efficiently, so we had to ask for such a high goal that we just couldn't get those numbers. We had lots of like support and it was great, but we just couldn't reach those numbers. So we ended up selling it to 25th Century Games. That's Chad Elkins. So we had the confusing Chad and Chad conversations many times. we need to break out of this mold, okay?
Yeah, I get it.
But
But I remember when that game came out because a friend of mine bought it. He backed on Kickstarter and saw my name, Adam Collins, on the back of it, and I had to explain to him, no, that's not me, Adam Collins. That's a different Adam Collins.
I mean, that's a good way to get support for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kickstarter's fickle, though. It certainly is. Do you go on there and back anybody and support anybody that way?
Yeah, we both, Chad probably more than I do, but we definitely have backed a few projects, and I'm lately into the smaller, more compact game, the better. So like just the simpler, easy to explain to people. I like those, even though the most board games I play are with a group that knows more about board games than I do. But still, it's like just the idea of having those simpler games because I don't have the best memory for rules and all that stuff. I get too much going on in my brain. Okay. So I just don't have time to remember the rules sort of thing. So it's the simpler, the better. I can kind of pick it up and play and whatever. So that's kind of what I've been keeping an eye out for on Kickstarter lately.
Game night is tailored to, does Adam already know the rules of the game?
It's not just me, but we won't get into it.
Hey, that's a fair way to do it. I mean, I believe they call that level setting, right?
Yeah.
We have to do some level setting.
Yeah.
So, Adam, how did you get into board gaming?
I believe, I was thinking about that today. I think it was through you, Chad, right?
I mean, probably, yeah.
So we used to lead a youth group actually at our church. And I believe one night after youth group, you had played, what game was that?
Is it Seven Wonders Duel?
Seven Wonders, yes.
It was the Duel.
It
was
Was
Duel.
it Duel? Okay. Seven Wonders Duel. And I think, like, I've obviously played board games up to that point, but it was, board games to me was like Monopoly and Sorry and those types of games. And then we played this one, and I'm like, it blew my mind. Like, there's more complex games than just Monopoly. And this was only, 10 years ago?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe 10 years ago.
Well, I mean, I got Seven Wonders Duel when it came out, so.
Yeah, whatever year that was.
Yeah.
So that kind of piqued my interest, and I believe within a couple months we had actually made our first game. which I don't remember the name of it.
I don't either, but
Did we ever name it?
No.
Yeah,
I feel like the name is always the last thing to come.
yeah, that's true. It was. We won't get into it, but it was a very it was a very interesting idea, and I still have the prototype, but it's
very large scale war game that interesting when you say it like that, but also probably needs a ton of work. So.
Yeah. It was based on the idea of creating a fog of war in a board game.
You know, I've seen a lot of different people try that and a lot of different attempts at it, and it's not a fog of war on a board. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't. It's not easy to accomplish. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying it hasn't been done yet. So
yeah, the way we ended up figuring it was the pieces all looked the same, but the back of the piece that faced the player could actually represent what the piece was. So you would see
very similar to Stratego, or Sekigahara is another one. If anyone's ever heard of it, that's very similar to our idea.
Didn't know that at the time, but
I've seen some of the chess now where there's like blank on one side and has the chess piece on the other. So as you're playing, you have to remember how your opponents move that piece. Like that could be a pawn, but it could also be a rook. It could be the king. It could be so
moving every piece like a pawn to disguise it. But sorry, that was me going into my how I'd play. But
I'm bad enough at regular chess, so you start throwing in walls where I got to remember, forget it.
Yeah,
just no, not me.
Sounds great though. Actually, I want to play it.
It's I would like to try it, but
you can find the if you go to Thingiverse, there is the files you can download and 3D print them at home. So
okay, you'll have to give that a try.
Yeah, I've had the files. My son plays chess, but I'm like, if I print these off, who's going to play with you? I mean, if I print them off and I use them, then I have an advantage. Maybe I wouldn't lose so bad at chess, but I probably will anyway. So if I came up to Canada, I have my passport. It's valid. I can get in. What is the current favorite game, the game that you currently have out on your table that you're playing right now?
You're going to have to answer that one,
Chad. I'd say popular among our game group would probably be Quacks of Quedlinburg. We play that quite a bit. Another one we've played that's probably my favorite is Treasure Island.
I haven't played that one.
Yeah, that's your favorite.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite because somehow I'm always stuck being the Blackbeard character.
I will say that is one of the best designed games I've ever played. Like in terms of, it's not my favorite. It's good, but it's like whatever. But like in terms of the complexity that went into the design, like that it tops levels upon many other games. Like it's really cool.
I'm thinking. I'm looking through the questions there you sent us, and there's a game that we play a lot that would cover the Hidden Gem game, which would be Russian Bash. Not a lot of people know about it, but it's we always describe whenever we're showing it to a new someone new in the game group as Mario Kart as a board game. So it's a racing game, and it's just very similar mechanics to like what you'd think of Mario Kart, where you can drop shells behind you or whatever, like, and so we love it.
That was Russian Bash.
Rush and N Bash, as in like
Rush in Bash. Got it. Not Russian like the country. Got it. Rush in Bash, like steak and shake.
Yeah, that's a good one to pick up. That's a great game.
Well, that's obviously going straight onto my list of games to buy when the wife's not paying attention. I do love a good racing game. The son and I do love racing games. We have, the typical ones, and you have the ones like Camel Up and Regatta where you're racing weird things. So, Circus Maximus where you're racing in a hippodrome and you're chariot racing and stuff. So
I don't think I've played that one or heard of it even. No.
It's old.
Okay.
Look it up. It's takes hours, but it's a lot of fun because you play no matter what. I believe it's 8 players. No matter how many people there are, there's 8.
Oh, like 8
chariot teams. So whether it's just you and one other person, you're both competing with 4 each, or if you have 4 and there's 2 each, or
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So you have to have all 8 and then try to make the 3 laps, and it's a hoot because you have to lay out your plan before the turn starts, and
So,
then
like,
you have random turn order, so you don't know when you're gonna go.
it's
you're-
a programming game.
Yeah, it's a programming game that can be completely destroyed. Like if you needed to go in the top 3 and you go 5th, all of a sudden what you put in is your program, you can't do, and you got to take any penalties that come with it. So
Oh, yeah.
damage to your horses or whatever. It really makes you wonder, like, how did this, I think it was like 1980 or something. It's like, how did they come up with this game in 1980?
I'm looking at it. It's 1979. I have it up on Geek right now. So
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's a riot. So how do you guys pronounce Klaus Teuber's game? The Settlers of?
I only call it Settlers,
Oh, well, that's
which
cheating.
is a little bit odd, but everyone knows what I mean when I say it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'm my uneducated pronunciation would be Catan. So,
Yeah, that seems to be the Canadian pronunciation.
Okay.
Like, I think everybody that I've interviewed from Canada, which has shockingly been like I don't know, 6 or 8, all say Catan. So you're all wrong, but that's okay.
Well, you got to enlighten us.
Yeah, it's good. Catan's what I say.
Okay.
But I like the cheating and just saying it's Settlers. That's a good way to just cheat.
yeah.
So, if you've already said you do play games at lunch when you could. So that's great. Because like I said, I use it a lot to get to meet people in my office, get to bring people together. Also, just as an opportunity to just unwind and not even worry about the daily work. Like, this is just my hour to sit and lose at a board game.
Yeah.
Which is what I did today. So how about a 60-minute game, a full lunch hour? What game are you going to grab for a 60-minute playtime?
Okay, I had to look through this because, I don't pay attention to my playtime. So it's usually it'd be Dominion or something which I know is less than 60 minutes. But if we can get 2 games in, we get 2 games in.
That's cheating.
Yeah, Dominion. What's another one? Oh, Fleet the Dice game. I really like Fleet the Dice game quite a bit.
Yeah.
Which again isn't always an hour long. It's actually more half an hour, I think, but it's an hour long.
I mean, it's usually about 45 minutes or so if you get 4 players.
Yeah.
I don't know if this one's exactly or close to an hour. I'm pretty sure it is, but Alhambra. That's my favorite game with that time length.
I love Alhambra. I think it's so fun, and I just went all in and bought the big box because I couldn't stop myself. And I'm telling you, even a lot of the little expansions are fun. They add so much with so little that, because like each one of the numbered expansions is like 3 mini expansions in there and stuff, but just the little stuff that they tweak with each one of them, how it just kind of takes a rule of Alhambra and breaks it by creating a new rule to replace it. And we played the crap out of Alhambra at my office. That's a good one.
I feel like they re-release it on Kickstarter every once in a while with like a bigger big box version of it, and I'm always tempted to get it.
I think they just did that.
Costco or Sam's Club edition next.
Yeah. Yeah. It gets delivered in the back of a pickup.
Yeah.
So how about a 30-minute game, a half-hour game? You got to be done in half an hour.
Cockroach Poker.
Yeah, I need to find that. You're not the first person to say that. I'd never heard of it. I've never played it. You were not the first person to say that. And now I'm like, I really need to track this game down. Unfortunately, I gave up buying games for Lent, and I'm holding
smart.
strong.
We can send it to you.
I mean, that's always my go-to like entry level game, or like, introducing it to someone. I like love showing that game to people. So it's
Do you like, speaking to Chad here, but Cheating Moth as well? Like that's another one you bought right around the same time.
yeah.
I feel like that one's a really interesting one too. I always confuse the two. Like I'm not confused the two, but they're so similar, but in terms of the size and everything. But
Yeah.
that one's pretty fun. Have you ever played Cheating Moth?
No.
It's the same. I can't think of who the publisher is, but same publisher, and it's very much the same art style that you'd see on a cockroach poker game. But it's kind of plays similar to something like Crazy Eights or whatever. But so you're trying to get rid of your hand, and you're allowed to cheat however you can. And if you get caught, if you get away with it, you good for you. And if you get caught, you're punished for it. So it's
I love it.
Yeah.
So the ways we would cheat would be like to stuff the card between the crack in the table, and it was just like you'd hear the card hit the floor, and we'd be like, "Who did that?" But if you didn't get caught, you got away with getting rid of the card. So,
Who did that? Everything.
yeah.
we had one of our.
I didn't hear anything. What do you? There's a card down there. I don't know how they got there. No, I've been playing this game at work called Formula 1 Centimeter.
I kickstarted that actually. I haven't played it yet.
Okay,
So,
well you need to because it's awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a hoot because you have to visualize a centimeter. Like they give you a ruler or a scale or whatever you want to call it to print out, and then you don't have it facing, you have it face down so that you don't have that visual. And all you have is a visual on the track that has a 1 centimeter, and then you have to drive your car 1 to 8 centimeters, and 1 to 4 you have to be within half a centimeter, and 5 to 8 you have to be within 1 centimeter, and people can check you or not check you. So if you think you can get away with it, you can try to go fat on it. So like 8 centimeters you can go to 9.
Right. Yeah.
Not 9.3 like I did today and lost the whole stupid race because of it. But I did. I lost the whole race because of that. Anyway, yeah, and so they can check you, and as long as you're within tolerance, you're fine. And so like to go 8 centimeters, you can go 7 to 9. And we played 2-player, we played 3-player. It was a very well thought out game because you just put a dot, and then you say how far apart they are, and you mark it off on your chart. And then you give people time to sit there and be like, and you want to guess, but if you're wrong, then you take a penalty, right? So you're like, oh man, I want to check this so bad, but you're afraid that if you're wrong, then you got to move 1 centimeter, and who wants to move slow? But it's fun because like it's not so much cheating like you're talking, like where you just like drop a card out of the way, but like it's cheating. Like, can I cheat this and go 7 centimeters instead of 6? It's been a fun game at work the last couple of days.
Yeah, I can see that. We'll have to try that with our group.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I feel like I'm a big fan of this guy Dade because of just this game. I mean, he put out this like amazing Kickstarter as far as like metrics of how well the Kickstarter did. But I mean, you're there talking about how great the game is. I haven't played it yet, but I mean, it does sound great. So I mean, yeah.
Kickstarter has had so many print and plays, roll and writes.
Yeah.
That it's insane to me, these people, because think about the overhead on that, right? You have no shipping.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait on your games to get here from wherever you order them. You get the artwork, and heck, half of them don't even have artwork.
Yeah.
Half of them are barely like above MS Paint that somebody just kind of, there's a drawing of a truck. It's like my 4-year-old can draw that truck, But they sell these things for like $5, and then 5,000 people back it, and it's like that guy just made $25,000 to send out an email.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, he did really well for himself. If we can only wish to be that successful.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I keep telling my business partner, I'm like, we need a roll and write. We need a print and play. We need something that we can just slip out there that can get a lot of backers interested in our company. Well, there's another guy. I can't remember his man. I'm skipping. His name is around the end of my tongue and I can't come up with it. But he does this like all these roll and writes, and they're all completely different, and they've got all these crazy mechanics with just a roll and write, and they all do, a couple $1,000, and it's an email with 3 sheets of paper, and it's like, I need to figure this out. He did one, it was called Under Construction, where he used a whole polyhedral set, and then depending on the number of the on the polyhedral and what truck it was on or something affected what you could do. And I think it was called Under Construction. It was awesome. My son and I sat down to play it, and as you play it, you're like, man, there's a lot of like depth and strategy to this little dinky rolling right. Like, this is crazy. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So you will really enjoy Formula One Centimeter. Sounds like we back a lot of the same stuff. So we should not become friends on Kickstarter because it would be really bad for my wallet.
I mean, I guess I'm not. I'm a little bit more reserved than most people on Kickstarter, but yeah, I feel like I've backed my fair share. So.
I run in with no regards for my wallet.
Well, just to cut in there, a deadline. I mean, if you're not backing in, that's good. I'm just kidding.
I mean, why not? I don't do a lot of RPGs, but that one sounds fun. The RPGs that I've kind of been getting into lately are like they're really offbeat. The ones that aren't even like Dungeons and Dragons based or anything. They're just like completely out there. Like, I just got a new one, Satanic Panic. Did you back that one?
No.
I saw it, but I didn't.
I didn't. Wait, is that?
It's an RPG. It showed up. I honestly forgot that I backed the booklet. So when the print and play came out, I printed it off and stapled it together. And then a few days later, like the book showed up in the mail, and I'm like, I forgot I backed that. So yeah, I got that one. I got one for kids.
We have another one that we've done.
Yeah. It's probably our most successful game outside of Christmas Lights, I would say. Oh, yeah, for sure. It's called The Hike That Binds Us.
The Hike?
The Hike That Binds Us, like trail hiking.
Mm.
And it was, I think, quite unique, actually. Like there's a little bit of a group of people that play it. And we actually were featured in a magazine in Canada for it. And we even had the game shipped out in one of those like subscription boxes, just like a download card. And so that, I don't know what our number's at, but it was in the thousands of how many people have backed and played this game. And so it was pretty neat to have that. And we had an expansion for it too, called Wintertide, which was like a winter expansion to it. And just like, that's the only reason why we kind of got back into this RPG, like with Deadline, this style of game is, it seems to be something that doesn't require a whole ton of work on the back end in terms of a production side of things. Like, you don't need a box, you don't need whatever, but we can create a book, we can create some sheets, and we can mail it out really easy and efficiently. We get them printed locally with a print shop that we use for all our prototyping. And so it's like, it's just the perfect fit for us right now while we're trying to grow a bit of an audience.
So you said you print your prototypes locally. So here in, the other side of the border, we use the Game Crafter is like the big one here to get all of our prototypes done. They have, Meeple and all sorts of cubes and discs, preset card sizes, box sizes, the whole shebang. So who do you have one like that up there in Canada?
We don't have a board game print manufacturer at all, and so
lean on them, man. Get your people to do it.
Well, yeah, no. The print shop we use has been mostly for, like, we've done a few books and some RPGs and stuff, and it's just it's KKP printing, and it's just a print shop, and so they'll do books or blueprints or whatever. Actually, that's how I found them, was getting blueprints printed. So
no, I understand. We had a blueprint guy, and I've had him print booklets for me.
Yeah.
I've had him print boards. Like, I bought a print and play, and it was a big color board, and he printed on a nice big piece of foam core for me. And
Yeah.
Oh, that's such a good idea. I've never thought to do that.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you just stack them all up, and you don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it. It's all sit in the corner. And what's that?
Yeah.
Game
That's
boards.
great.
Don't worry about it. This game board sitting over there.
The other one we've used is make playing cards, which
Yeah.
is kind of like that, and that's just been to like print the odd card and stuff. It's just so much more efficient when you have higher numbers, and we just haven't had the high numbers in backing to really like for those types of games to to be able to get efficient with our numbers. That's the hard part. Like more established board game companies can get games made for $3 to $5 like the entire game, and we're like $15 for the first 100. It's like per game, and that's like that's so hard to try to sell, and we kind of hate doing it too because it's like we know this game is only worth this, but we just truly can't charge that.
No, I understand. It's funny you say it that way, because our first game that we put out was Fences, and it was a tile laying game. And being a board gamer that has a wife that doesn't like the fact that board games are taking over the house, and I'm trying to just put them all in one room, and then I can't, walk. But anyway, when we designed the game in the box, like we made it to like the smallest box you could possibly make. And I mean, it weighs almost 2 pounds because it's like 84 tiles. It's got wooden hen houses. It's got a deck of tarot cards. It's got a scoreboard. Like, it's thick and heavy and dense. But people visually look at it and they're like, I can't pay $30 for this. Look how small the box is.
Yeah.
But then we dropped it to $25 and it just sells like, all day. Like $25, like really $5 makes that big of a difference to people. But, we knew, we thought we had a $30 game. So like you said, the value of your game, what you can and can't sell it for. And it's a weird science to put it mildly, because if you sell it too cheap or too expensive, you got to find that spot. So if anybody wanted to get the Hike That Binds Us, is it on DriveThruRPG or?
No, actually, we've just been hosting on our website, thehumbleapproach.com.
Thehumbleapproach.com. Thehumbleapproach.com.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you can just Google either of our names and with THA Games or something. I'm sure you'll come across it, but
or you'll come across mine.
Well, it's true, and that's also a good thing. So
if you type in Adam Collins board games, you're going to get something. It's either going to be Humble Approach or Bearded Board Games. You're going to get one or the other.
100%. But yeah, that's probably the best place to get it right now. But we have obviously the full digital versions and the physical copies as well. I still have. I've taken over 2 rooms in my basement with just like stock of games and pieces and leftover chunks from this game, and like it's a mess down there.
Yeah, I wouldn't put anything like that in my basement. It would just get gross.
Yeah,
I live in an old city house that's got an old city basement. It's gross. I don't anything down there too long. Just might as well throw it away.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to the questions I sent ahead of time. Colors. At a game that requires colors, what color do you gravitate towards?
I take green whenever Adam lets me. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I think we both fight over that color. So.
Yeah, I it's green or blue for me.
Yeah.
I'll take blue. But I mean, red? That's disgusting.
Okay. Wow. We've alienated so many people right now.
Whoa. It's red or die for me. No, I'll take red or orange. Yellow means you picked last. That's what somebody told me once. Somebody told me that, like, if you play yellow, it means you picked last.
You're the younger brother.
Yeah. If you know who Luigi is, you were the younger brother. Yeah. But it's so fun to run across another person named Adam Collins in the board game industry. And so it was funny when you reached out, and I'm like, it'll be interesting to put this title up as the interview with Adam Collins by Adam Collins. This would be a weird one to put on the website, but hey, the Christmas Lights was a great game. I like because not only because you had a booklet and extra cards, so you could play more than just the one game. I can't remember how many games it was.
I think it was
10.
Was it 10?
8 or 10. So the bonus games, when we sold the game, the bonus games that was one of the things he did to kind of like increase or just change the game a little bit, sort of thing. So all the rules and stuff stayed the same pretty much, and then he just added the bonus games.
12 bonus games.
12 bonus games.
I was gonna say I thought it was 12 because of the 12 days of Christmas, but
Yeah, like our provinces.
Oh my goodness.
kids do not take geography from anybody named Adam Collins.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I know all the 50 states and capitals, but I can.
I probably know the 50 states, but no, I know our provinces. I just don't know I don't know how many. Like I could, if I started to figure it out, I could count. But
I just count them on my thumbs and fingers, and then when I run out, that's all I know. So Deadline's currently active on Kickstarter. When does it go off?
March 28th, I believe.
March 20, yeah, something like that.
March 28th.
It's the end of the month.
All right.
Yeah.
Go check it out, give it a backing, because I know I probably will get on there later tonight.
Or even just throw a comment. I mean, for us, it's like this one's doing fairly well in terms of like consistently growing each day. One of the things we've found as creators on Kickstarter is some games you won't even have people stop by. Like you don't have people even looking at it. Whereas this one, we actually have lots of people looking at it for once, which is really good. And so it's growing. It's not like crazy, but it's really good for us in our numbers lately. So but even if someone wants to stop by and leave a comment or ask a question or whatever, that just helps the algorithms.
All about that algorithm.
Sorry, March 31st, actually.
March 31st, yeah.
Well, the literal end of the month.
Yeah.
Nice.
Chad doesn't know his dates, so
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't ask me how many months are in or how many days are in a year. I gotta count them on my knuckles like a kindergartner. Makes it's way easier for me to do it that way. I'm always like, everybody's like, well, it's 30 days, half September. And I'm like, man, my dad messed me up when I was little because he told me it was 30 days, half September, all the rest I can't remember. There's a calendar on the wall. Why bother me at all? And I never learned it.
Oh, I like that.
I never learned it because my dad taught me that stupid ditty, and I never learned it. And I'm not making that up. So every time somebody asks me, I have to start on my knuckles and go January, February, March, April, May, because I don't know it because of my dad. And I know he's not listening, so I can say that out loud and he can't do anything about it. But, oh my gosh, my dad messed me up so bad with that stupid ditty. And I've never bothered to learn the months of the year. I figured I could count my knuckles. Why bother? So, oh man. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on the show today. It's always fun to find, it's so funny that we have such parallel lives, but, it's all in the great name of Adam Collins. Do you have any siblings?
I have one.
Oh, man, I have two. That's too bad.
Okay. How many kids do you have?
I have two kids.
Okay. There's a parallel there. Actually, I was going to say some point in the future, we'd like to have you on our podcast. And we'll video call in, and I want to nail down how many parallels we have. Okay, we'll come up with a list of 100 things, and we're gonna percent off you versus our parallels versus you and Chad parallels, and see see if there's something above the average. Is there something in the name? We do our podcast from a truck though, so
whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it works.
Yeah,
it's cramped.
I work out of an attic, so with apparently my cat meowing at the door, and
I mean, I do like your setup. You can see all the books and the games there and that. So, is that the Godfather behind you? It is the Godfather.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of my hidden gem suggestions from a past guest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and when I bought it, on her recommendation, and it is one of the top played games by my gaming group now.
Oh wow.
Nice.
We were like, oh, I bought it. My group's really open to trying new games once, and they're kind of tough to please. And we played it one time, and they're like, this game every week, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I can play it every week, but yeah, we played it a lot. It's a good one. It's one of our favorites for sure.
It's the briefcases that do it for you.
It's the killing and putting them in the Hudson River, I think. That's my favorite part. And it's always like those rounds where like the entire Hudson River is just full of bodies. And you're like, man, I don't think anybody survived that round. And during the cleanup phase, you're just like trying to pick through like the pile of dead bodies to get your color back, because there's so many in there. So, I'm doing a drive-by. Oh, I'm doing this. And then it's like you look over and like you have no people left on the board, and they're all just piled up in the Hudson. So, yeah, it's a good one. It's one of it was a game, and the thing is, it's what I love about this podcast and talking to people like you and like Rush and Bash, like games that I never would have heard of, or games I never would have thought about buying. Like I never would have bought The Godfather had it not been suggested, because it's like an $80 game by CMON, and I'm like, I'm not gonna buy that game. But like I said, she suggested it, and I found it on eBay for like $30 shipped.
Oh wow.
And I was like, well, so at that point I didn't even know it was $80. So I buy it for $30. It shows up, and then I saw it at my game shop, my friendly local game store, and I saw it was like $80. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I never would have paid $80 for this game. I mean, now that I've played it as many times as I have, it's totally worth the $80. But I'm like, that's one of the beauties of this podcast, is like I find out about these games that like I never would have ever like played or thought about or heard of, or so it's been a lot of fun. It's been very expensive.
Yeah, I can imagine. Chad is our board game collector in our group.
Yeah, it's expensive for me.
Yeah.
I understand. Well, like I said, I stopped buying games for Lent this year, and my son and I have been working really hard to just play through the Shelf of Shame. All the games that we bought that we've never played.
Yeah, I have a tiny Shelf of Shame, yeah.
Yeah. We've been slowly working through them as a group, but
I wish mine was tiny, but it's not. It's over 60.
Oh.
And so we were like going through and knocking them out, and then like 1 week, like 4 Kickstarters just showed up. And I was like both happy and sad. So I'm like, man, we were so close to like getting under 60, and then we weren't. So we're working our way back down towards 60 again. But yeah, like I said, that 1 week 4 showed up, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I don't even count the print and play ones. Like I that's a whole other animal that I'll get to at some point in time. But like Formula 1 Centimeter started because somebody, I can't remember, somebody canceled on us, and we wanted to play a game, and we wanted to play with 4-player, and so I was like, well, what can we play with 3? And I'm like, hang on, and I ran back to my office and pulled it up on my thumb drive, and I have a whole file of print and plays, and found Formula 1 Centimeter, printed it off, and then like I said, we had a blast with that one. You'll really like it, because it's nerve-wracking, because you're trying to squeeze every bit of distance out, and or you're trying to keep it short, because you don't really want to go all 5, but you need the distance that the tolerance you're allowed to have. So it's a blast. And I think it came with 12 tracks.
Yeah.
Plus 2 big ones for 4-player, plus a kid's version, which is a big oval. But I think, so it came with like some like 15 tracks, and it's like, holy cow. And then there's multiple rule levels you could put on. You can have like weather, you have like a weather die you can roll, and I mean, they really went all out. You don't have time to set up Formula D or Downforce or something like that. or you want to really test your eyeball on how far 3 centimeters is, go for it. But if you might want to reach out to you guys, how can they find you?
It's probably the best place is just our website, thehumbleapproach.com. That's
All right.
kind of our hub for everything. And like I said, we just have a whole ton of different content. We have a web series we did, which was pretty fun. Chad's cereal reviews.
That was
That's amazing.
what?
That's amazing. How many did you do?
Well, we set out to do 24
Did we do
episodes,
24?
but I think we did 20
Okay, yeah.
Oh, man.
because our editor got very sick of doing them, and I don't blame him. But and so we'll just basically like passion projects. Whenever we have an idea for something, we just go for it.
That's like wearing your editor out,
Yeah. Well, it was his idea right in the beginning.
Yes, yeah.
I kind of ran with it a little bit. So anyway, yeah.
And then he's like, "What have I done?"
Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh my god, cereal reviews. Holy cow! I'm going to give those a watch now. I know what I'm going to do tomorrow at work.
Yeah.
Put
Be
that
sure to
on.
subscribe.
Put that on the third monitor on the side over there. Is that guy eating cereal? Yeah, don't look at that monitor. Just focus on these two. And as usual, if you guys want to reach out to me, it's eatlunchandboardgame.com, eatlunchandboardgame@gmail.com. And remember, board games build bridges. When you're gaming, why not be comfy? Go over to supportplayer.org. Click on the cards, pieces, and dice to get some merch. These t-shirts are some of the most comfortable I have ever worn. That's supportplayer.org, and there's a link on eatlunchandboardgame.com.